Ashlesha Nakshatra, the nakshatra which has poisonous features, the nakshatra that is ruled by Nagraj, the king of the Naglok, the nakshatra which has serpentine qualities and has the Shakti which represents poison. Ashlesha is a coiled nakshatra and it shows dependency. Either you are dependent on someone or the world is dependent on you. But having this reptilian quality also makes this nakshatra one of the most competitive nakshatra. And this is a nakshatra which also holds the Gandanta between the Rajas and the Tamas. So this nakshatra uses both the qualities of the Rajasic element of life and the Tamasic element of life. And this nakshatra wants to conquer. This is the conquering nakshatra, but this nakshatra uses the emotions to conquer. This nakshatra is a cunning nakshatra. Is it that bad? Actually, no. Because this nakshatra represents the power to rise up, the power to come out from the Mooladhara to Sahasrara. It's a coiled force, right? It's a coiled serpent. Isn't this Kundalini? Somewhere Ashlesha Nakshatra also has some correlation with the Kundalini Shakti. This nakshatra lies completely in the sign of Cancer, Kark Rashi, Cancer zodiac sign. And the Navamsha that is associated with this nakshatra is very unique because this nakshatra holds Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces Navamsha. So the Navamsha is of Dharma and Karma, but the nakshatra holds the power of serpent. So that means they are very methodical and they are very acute towards their principles, the religious principles. Sometimes a bad planet in this nakshatra can make you an extremist. In your thoughts, you can go on the extreme angle towards proving your point. This nakshatra always wants to be in limelight and always wants to be one step ahead. But the problem with this nakshatra is, this is a clinging star. One of the stars from the constellation Hydra. This nakshatra is responsible for all sorts of material achievements, but forms a very thin line where a person can become tamasic and fall into the tamasic zone from the rajasic zone. This nakshatra is very crucial in material success, material gains, and also it pushes you towards spiritual boundary because it utilizes the Shakti in the form of Tantra. Kundalini energy activation is also a part of this nakshatra domain, and you will see all the Nagas and the Sarpa association with both Vishnu and Shiva. That means both the Vishnu and the Shiva energy is somewhere associated with this, and if this nakshatra is in your favor, then you get the divine blessings. You need the push. You get the divine support on whom you can cling upon, with whose efforts, with whose support you can rise up and rise high. So the most important property of this nakshatra is the support that you get. To whom you are dependent, whose support are you taking, what kind of energy are you seeking, defines the good side or the bad side of this nakshatra. Absolutely, there is no absolute dark or light, there is no absolute black or white in Jyotish. Everything is a shade of grey. It's a million shade of grey. Now come to Mars. Mars is a planet of aggression, passion, desire. It is a planet that is the brute force. It's the force of the life inside a seed that in spite of being covered by a hard coat and buried deep inside the earth, life comes out, breaks it out. It breaks from within and comes out as a sapling. When Mars, the planet of life, the planet of energy, the planet that rules the earth element, the strength, goes into Cancer zodiac sign, it becomes debilitated. I have already made a video on Cancer Mars and the transit of Mars in the Cancer sign. The link of both the videos are in the description box below. If you want more information on a zodiac based planetary placement, you can go and watch that video. Mars in the sign of Cancer will move from the Punarvasu Nakshatra's last pada to the 4 padas of the Pushya Nakshatra, and finally it will enter the Ashlesha Nakshatra. And when a planet enters the first pada of Ashlesha Nakshatra, it gets the power of Sagittarius Navamsha. You know, the power of faith, believing something. You become orthodox, you become staunch believer of a particular ideology, a particular faith, a particular system, or anything that you want to believe in. When Mars goes into that nakshatra, suddenly it solidifies that faith. It solidifies, it gives you power to fight for that faith, fight for that belief. Mars is a fighter, it's a warrior. And when it goes into Ashlesha, it wants to fight, but this corrupts Mars. That's why Mars is debilitated towards the end of Ashlesha, because of the continuous poisoning of the force. This brute force becomes misdirectional. It loses its direction and it can fire into any place. The energy becomes all over the place. But this brute force is also very much necessary for the life to come out, to bring out something new. It totally depends on us. How do we treat this force? See, if Kundalini in your body rises up, it breaks the Mooladhara chakra, it covers all the chakras, and it rises up to Sahasrara chakra. But if the Kundalini force is rising up, it can, if it is not guided by a guru, or if you don't know or don't have the proper knowledge and instruction, it can create serious side effects. It can completely derail your spiritual growth, mental growth, physical growth, and can put you into a lot of mental issues and dilemma, because if you open up a portal to other dimension, you must ensure that only positive comes in, not the negative, because it's an open gate. Anybody can walk through that gate. So if you have that filter, if you have that shield protection, it's fine. But if the protection of the guard is down, then things can really go wrong. And when Mars is in Ashlesha, the guard is actually down. It is like a arrow which has a poison, and when you are firing the arrow on someone, when you are firing the bullet onto someone, you should be defending and not destroying things. But when Mars goes into this particular nakshatra, it wants to hold on to a particular ideology of war. It is a war of deception, because Ashlesha is the nakshatra of deception. It's a pure Rahu type nakshatra, but surprisingly it's not ruled by Rahu, it's ruled by Mercury as a planetary ruler in Vimshottari scheme, and deity is Nagas, or the king of the Nagas. So you can see it's an absolute intellect. It's a very brilliant nakshatra. It shines bright because it holds a lot of mental capacity. But it is in the sign of moon, emotions. So it's a cunning emotion. It's like playing with emotion. And when Mars, the planet of force, the planet of power, goes into this nakshatra, then this energy comes into action. This energy comes into being. It's continuous flow of that energy. And now the passion also creeps in, and that means passion, emotion, and intellect and dependency to someone can be the recipe to disaster, or it can be a recipe to your own spiritual growth. So it's totally dependent on how you take this, because it's a very thin boundary. Either it has to be Rajas to Sattva, and that's a longer path this nakshatra has to take. But usually people prefer the shorter path and falls down to the tamas, utilizing the negative side of this nakshatra. It's very easy to harness the negativity of Ashlesha because it's poison, or do enough research, convert the poison into medicine. Ashlesha is also master of medicine. It's master of occult. It's master in writing. So when Mars goes into this nakshatra, ink, which is Mars, must be put to good use. What you write, what you express, how do you deal with emotions has to be dealt very carefully. Also, if you see, Mars is 4th from Aries, so it's like fine, with Aries it's okay, but it's 9th from the sign of Scorpio. That means the dharma of the Scorpio comes into action, comes into fruition, and Scorpio is deception, hideousness. Scorpio and Ashlesha together rules the dark domain. If Scorpio is the scorpion himself, Ashlesha is the poison of the scorpion. It's the sting of the scorpion, it pierces. That is why people which have stronger planets in Ashlesha go for body piercing, go for tattoos. But when Mars goes into this nakshatra, the energy signature of the Mars becomes like a king cobra. You should put this energy to defensive use, not for offense. And when this Mars is in this particular nakshatra, Kundalini Jagran should be your theme and not dissipating this energy for some negative purpose. So handling this energy is very important, and emotions is not the way. By being emotional is not the right path to handle this energy. This energy has to be handled through brain. Whenever moon is in the negative Rashi, you will see that the negative energy will creep up. And usually people with weak Mars will tend to take the side of the wrong person. They will believe on the wrong person, wrong ideology, wrong system, and they will try to defend that. So it creates a bipolar environment, and you are caught in the wildfire, caught in the crossfire. And in this case, because you will do some karma, you will have to face the consequence of the karma. So you have to be very sure about the karma that you choose, the karma that you do when Mars is in Ashlesha. Remember, when Mars is in Ashlesha, especially when Mars is around 20 degrees of Ashlesha, it will be aspected directly by a retrograde Saturn, who is definitely in Shravan Nakshatra, doesn't want to listen to anybody. Now this becomes very aggressive, creates impatient nature, create hastiness, create judgmental attitude, and you will be very quick in judging something before going into proper analysis. This is a recipe for a bad karma and a consequence of the bad karma. You have to be very sure, focus right, focus on the path of clarity, focus on the path of positivity, and before coming to a conclusion, be it your career, be it your marriage, be it your attitude towards anything in society, you should always focus whether you have studied enough about the subject, whether you are confirmed or you are assuming. Because if you have a confirmed approach to life, then it's an analytical approach, and then you are free to do. You are free to take a call, you are free to take an action because you have confirmed that it is good for you, other people, and the society. But in case you feel that it is an assumption, you are assuming it to go bad, you are assuming that the person in front of you is not your friend, he is your enemy, then mostly in relationships you will see, especially in marriage and business contracts, you will see that this will become like a cold war, like a war of deception, the war of diplomacy, war of cunningness. It's a cunning war, because you will try to play smart in this case, and the person with a stronger planetary position can outplay you. That will create a frustration, that will create a sense of defeat, and you will start thinking that you are a loser. And when you will feel weak, you will try to cling to a person with higher power. If that person with higher power is a negative person, you are completely playing at the hands of the devil. So you have to be very careful how you put this energy to use. Now, this is not a short-term transit. This is a month-long transit in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Right now, Mars is in Pushya. Mars is actually in a positive nakshatra. Mars is gaining the positive energy, but being in Pushya Nakshatra is like a soldier is in kitchen. He is not coming to terms with his reality, and suddenly when Mars goes near to Ashlesha, a voice tells something in his ear, and that voice is of a demon. This is not a positive voice. In Pushya, he is positive. If he comes to terms to this placement, if he comes to terms with this energy, he will be calm and quiet, and he will be okay in Ashlesha. But in Ashlesha, if he is agitated, if he is perplexed, confused, then Ashlesha is going to take the reptilian side and bring out the reptilian brain inside the mind of the human being, and that reptilian brain is only self-obsessed. And it's very easy to control, because Rahu in the sign of Taurus will find Mars in Ashlesha, third from itself. That means the strength of Rahu is Mars. And you know, Rahu is a Sarpa, Naga. So you will simply play at the hand of the devil, and Later on, when Mars will go into a positive sign, or when Mars will go into Capricorn, come in closeness with Saturn, is when you will realize what wrong karma you have done, and then you will have to face, because once karma is done, you will have to face the consequence of the karma. You have to bear the fruits of the karma. It's applied to all of us, you, me, everybody. So when Mars is in Ashlesha, obviously it won't affect all of us uniformly. For some it will be a minor touch, and for some it will be a heavy energy. How to determine? If your Mars falls in Ashlesha and you have a planet in Ashlesha, then you have to be very careful. Except if you have Sun in Ashlesha. Because if you have Sun in Ashlesha and you are handling that energy well, then Mars will only give you the necessary boost. Otherwise, if you have Moon in Ashlesha, if you have Rahu in Ashlesha, you have Saturn in Ashlesha, you have Ketu in Ashlesha, or if you have Ascendant Lord in Ashlesha, you have 8th Lord placed in Ashlesha Nakshatra, then you have to be very, very careful, and you have to balance this energy out. The best way to balance this energy is to practice Kundalini meditation in a very simpler way. Focusing on the Mooladhara Chakra, going back to the roots, trying to ascertain every action, trying to be judgmental about yourself, whether you are going good, whether you are following good, or you are just being emotionally overwhelmed and taking an action because of a vulnerable emotion. Somebody can take a use, it can be misused, and you will be at the fault. I hope this quick video helps you understanding the power play of Mars in Ashlesha and the tussle between the good and the bad, and how can you bring the Kundalini up and make the energy urdhvagami instead of adhvagami. Hope this video helps you, and if this helped you, do like the video and share the video among family and friends. Do not forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you and me can stay connected. If you want to take my consultation, you can drop me an email. The email ID is in the description box below, and all the Telegram channel links and my another new channel, Lifetime Soul, unique video, holistic perspective towards life. All the videos and my social media links are in the description box below. Do not forget to follow them and subscribe to my new channel also. I wish you all the best, and I wish you bring out this reptilian energy. Remember, it's not bad, but it's only good if you put it to good use. Bring that energy out and put it to good use. That should be enough to handle the energy of Mars in Ashlesha. And in case you have a problem, and in case you feel that it's more negative, pray to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. And becoming a Bhakt of Shiva is the best way to handle the Ashlesha's energy. Thank you guys for watching this video. Explore my channel for more such videos, and we'll meet in the next such interesting video. Till then, namaste.